The remnants of Earth lay scattered beneath a blanket of ash and debris, the once vibrant landscapes now a haunting tableau of despair. The air crackled with tension as Captain Alara stood at the forefront of a dimly lit war room, her presence commanding the attention of a gathering of military leaders. The metallic walls echoed with the grim sounds of whispered fears and anxious shuffling. On an enormous screen behind her, the horrifying footage of the Zinthar fleet descending from the heavens played in a relentless loop. Towering ships, sleek and menacing, cut through the clouds like dark harbingers, their ominous silhouettes casting shadows over the remnants of civilization. Ilara's heart raced as she scanned the faces of the leaders, each mask revealing a blend of disbelief and terror. They were a coalition of nations, assembled in this last sanctuary of human governance, yet their unity felt fragile, as though it could shatter like glass at the slightest provocation. The footage continued to swirl on the screen, a grim reminder of the overwhelming power that the Zinthar possessed. The fleet was far more advanced than any technology humanity had ever conceived. Panic rippled through the crowd, igniting a cacophony of frantic discussions. Some leaders argued for immediate evacuation, while others clamored for a show of force, a desperate attempt to project strength in the face of impending doom. Ilara felt the weight of their fear encircle her, a palpable force pressing against her chest. She had trained for moments like this, yet the reality of the situation was far more daunting than any simulation or war game could prepare her for. With a steadying breath, she raised her voice above the din, her tone unwavering. She sought not only to inform but to inspire, to galvanize the fractured assembly into a cohesive front against the encroaching darkness. Yet behind her resolute facade, doubts gnawed at her mind. How could mere humans stand against such a formidable foe? As the rumble of debate continued, the images on the screen shifted, revealing the terrifying precision of the Zinthar's weaponry, their ships unleashing torrents of destructive energy upon the planet's surface. A wave of despair washed over Ilara, but deep within her, a flicker of determination ignited. She thought of the countless lives at stake, of the children who still dreamt of the stars, and of the future that hung in the balance. It was a moment that defined her. It was a call to arms. In the midst of this chaos, her thoughts drifted to her childhood, a time filled with wonder and a yearning for exploration. She remembered nights spent beneath a vast canopy of stars, her imagination soaring as she envisioned distant worlds and civilizations. Those innocent dreams now felt like a cruel joke against the harsh reality of war. The stars, once a source of hope, now felt distant and taunting, a reminder of what humanity stood to lose. Her reverie was abruptly interrupted by the sudden entrance of Dr. Milo, her longtime friend and brilliant scientist. He burst into the room, breathless and animated, clutching a tablet that hummed with energy. The urgency in his eyes sparked a renewed interest among the leaders, momentarily diverting their attention from the Zinthar threat. Ilara could see the familiar glint of inspiration that had always characterized Milo's approach to challenges. He was a beacon of ingenuity, and she often marveled at how his mind worked, weaving together complex ideas into innovative solutions. Milo wasted no time, presenting the data he had gathered on a recently discovered energy source, one that had the potential to level the playing field against the Zinthar's advanced technology. His voice held an infectiously vibrant energy, and Ilara felt a swell of hope at the prospect of harnessing this new power. Yet, as he laid out his plan, she couldn't help but feel the weight of skepticism in the air. The leaders, still grappling with their fear, exchanged wary glances. The concept of an untested energy source seemed like a desperate gamble, perhaps even a fool's errand. But Ilara knew that desperation could sometimes birth the most incredible breakthroughs. She watched as Milo passionately detailed the mechanics of the energy source, his enthusiasm igniting a flicker of intrigue among the leaders. It was a risky venture, yet it could be humanity's last hope, an opportunity to not just survive, but to fight back against the looming threat. As the discussions evolved, the room transformed into a battleground of ideas and emotions. Ilara and Milo stood united, their shared determination palpable. They had faced adversity together before, and this time would be no different. Their bond was forged through years of collaboration, a partnership that transcended the professional realm. In the chaos of uncertainty, Alara found solace in Milo's presence, the familiarity of their camaraderie grounding her amidst the tumult. The military council convened, and Alara and Milo prepared to present their findings. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the air crackling with the weight of disbelief and skepticism. As they laid bare their plan, the divisions among the leaders became evident. Some were eager to embrace the possibility of a new weapon against the Zinthar, while others were hesitant, fearing the consequences of delving into untested technology. The argument escalated, voices rising and fists pounding on tables, a stark reflection of the fear and desperation that permeated the room. Alara felt the urgency of the moment pressing upon her. She understood the stakes, the necessity of unity in the face of such overwhelming odds. With a steady heart, she took a breath and stepped forward, her voice cutting through the rising tide of dissent. She spoke of the resilience of humanity, of the strength that came from standing together against a common enemy. Her words, infused with passion and conviction, began to resonate with some of the leaders. As the debate raged on, Alara remained steadfast, her mind racing with the implications of their choices. She envisioned a future where they could reclaim their world, where humanity could rise from the ashes of despair and forge a new destiny among the stars. But for that dream to materialize, they needed to overcome their fear and embrace the unknown. It was a battle for not just survival, but for the very essence of what it meant to be human. In the heart of the war room, amidst the turmoil of conflicting opinions, a flicker of hope began to emerge. Alara could feel it, a delicate thread weaving its way through the chaos, binding the leaders with the promise of a united front. It was a fragile thing, but it was enough to ignite a spark of courage within her. The Zinthar may have been a formidable foe, but humanity had something they could never understand, an unyielding spirit, a fierce determination to protect their home. As the discussions continued, Alara's resolve solidified. She would not allow fear to dictate their fate. They were on the precipice of an unprecedented challenge, but she believed in the potential of humanity to rise to the occasion. With a focused heart, she prepared herself for the next steps, knowing that the path ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty. The stakes were high and the clock was ticking. The threat of the Zinthar loomed ever closer, but within the depths of despair, a glimmer of hope had ignited. United by their shared purpose, Alara and her allies would fight not just for survival, but for a future where humanity could once again gaze up at the stars with wonder and possibility. The journey ahead would demand sacrifice, but it was one they were willing to undertake for the sake of their world. A world worth fighting for. In the dimly lit confines of the underground bunker, the air was thick with tension and the hum of machinery. A team of scientists and engineers, driven by desperation and determination, worked tirelessly at their stations, each individual focused on their task. The walls, reinforced with steel and adorned with screens displaying streams of data, seemed to pulse with the urgency of their mission. Captain Alara stood at the center, surveying her team with a blend of pride and apprehension. They were humanity's last hope against the Zinthar, the ancient alien civilization that threatened to extinguish their existence. Dr. Milo, her trusted partner and a brilliant scientist, leaned over a holographic display, his brow furrowed in concentration. Days of sleepless nights had culminated in this moment. He had made a breakthrough in understanding the Zinthar's technology. With each passing second, he dissected the intricate layers of data that flowed before him. The hologram flickered, revealing the structure of the Zinthar's shields, an imposing barrier that had thwarted humanity's defenses time and again. Milo's eyes widened as he began to recognize a pattern, a potential weakness nestled within the alien architecture. It was a revelation that could change everything. As news of Milo's discovery spread through the bunker, excitement ignited among the team. Whispers of hope filled the space, mingling with the sounds of keyboards clacking and machinery whirring to life. Engineers adjusted their equipment, recalibrating devices and redirecting resources to exploit this newfound knowledge. Alara felt a surge of adrenaline as she watched her team mobilize, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the screens. This was not just another day of research. It was the dawn of a daring mission to infiltrate a Zinthar ship, armed with the knowledge that could potentially turn the tide of the war. The atmosphere shifted as Alara gathered her team for a briefing. She knew that the mission ahead would be perilous, requiring not only skill but also unwavering trust in one another. They had trained for this, but the reality of facing the Zinthar loomed large. Ilara's voice rang with conviction as she outlined their objectives, emphasizing the importance of stealth and precision. The team absorbed her words, nodding in understanding, their resolve hardening with each passing moment. As the small team prepared for their covert operation, a sense of camaraderie enveloped them. They were not just colleagues. They were a family forged in the fire of adversity. Each member carried their own fears and hopes, but they united under a common purpose: to protect their world from an existential threat. With gear secured and weapons checked, they moved towards the launch bay, a sense of anticipation crackling in the air. The journey to the Zinthar ship was fraught with tension. They navigated through the shadows, slipping past the remnants of their world, now altered by war. The vastness of space awaited them, a stark contrast to the claustrophobic confines of their bunker. As they approached the alien vessel, its dark silhouette loomed against the backdrop of distant stars, a stark reminder of the power they were up against. Once aboard the Zinthar ship, the team moved with practiced precision. The interior was a bewildering blend of technology and organic design, pulsating with an eerie luminescence. The air was heavy with the scent of unfamiliar materials, and the walls seemed to hum with energy. As they crept through the corridors, they witnessed the Zinthar's advanced technology in action. Machines whirring, alien symbols glowing, and systems operating with a precision that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The team's initial excitement began to wane as they encountered the reality of their situation. The Zinthar were not just conquerors. They were a civilization that had thrived for millennia, their technology far beyond human comprehension. Every corner they turned, every shadow they passed, felt fraught with danger. They knew they had to remain vigilant, for even the slightest misstep could lead to their undoing. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. An alarm blared, piercing through the silence like a knife. The team's hearts raced as they realized they had been detected. In an instant, chaos erupted. The corridors that had once seemed like a labyrinth of opportunity now transformed into a deadly maze. Ilara led her team with instinct and urgency, navigating through the alien vessel as Zinthar guards closed in on them. The sound of their footsteps echoed ominously, a reminder of the relentless pursuit. The escape sequence was a blur of adrenaline and instinct. They ducked into alcoves and dashed down narrow passageways, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. The Zinthar guards, towering and formidable, were relentless in their pursuit. The team's morale, once buoyed by the thrill of discovery, now hinged on their ability to evade capture. Ilara's mind raced as she strategized their route, her instincts honed from years of leadership guiding her every decision. With a final push, they reached an escape pod bay. The metallic doors slid open with a hiss, revealing their means of escape. Ilara urged her team forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins. They clambered into the pod, sealing the hatch just as the Zinthar guards rounded the corner. The sound of their shouts and the pounding of their footsteps faded as the pod launched into the void of space, leaving the alien ship behind. Back at the bunker, the team regrouped, their hearts still racing from the close call. They gathered around a central console, urgency palpable in the air. Milo, still processing the harrowing escape, began to analyze the data they had gathered during their infiltration. As the information flowed onto the screen, a disturbing pattern emerged, one that sent chills down their spines. The Zinthar were not merely invaders. They were searching for something specific on Earth. The realization struck Ilara with the weight of 1,000 burdens. What could they possibly want? The implications were staggering. Were they after resources, technology, or something more profound? Whatever it was, it meant that the threat was not merely about conquest. It was about something deeply interwoven with their very existence. Milo's fingers flew across the console as he compiled the data, piecing together fragments of information. Ilara watched him, her resolve intensifying. They needed to act quickly, to uncover the truth behind the Zinthar's motives before it was too late. The stakes had risen exponentially, and the team's mission had evolved from mere survival to a race against time. As they reviewed the data, the weight of their responsibility settled heavily upon Ilara's shoulders. She could feel the eyes of her team on her, waiting for direction. They were counting on her to lead them through this uncharted territory. With newfound determination, she began to formulate a plan, her mind racing with possibilities. The Zinthar may have underestimated humanity, but they would soon learn that they were far from defenseless. The bunker, once a sanctuary from the chaos of the outside world, now felt like a crucible for their hopes and fears. Ilara and her team stood at the precipice of discovery and danger, ready to confront the unknown. The journey ahead would demand everything from them: sacrifice, courage, and an unwavering belief in their cause. In that moment, as they prepared to face the Zinthar once more, Ilara felt a spark ignite within her, a flame of resilience that would guide them through the darkness. The fight for humanity had only just begun, and she was determined to see it through to the end. In the dimly lit bunker, the atmosphere was charged with an undercurrent of urgency as the team of scientists and engineers gathered around a sprawling table covered with blueprints and holographic displays. Captain Ilara stood at the head of the table, her presence commanding yet approachable, as she outlined the ambitious plan to create a device capable of disrupting the Zinthar's communication network. The flickering screens illuminated the focused faces of her team, each member a vital cog in this intricate machine of resistance. As they brainstormed, the complexity of the task ahead became increasingly clear, yet so did their determination to see it through. Milo, with his ever-analytical mind, was the first to break the silence that hung heavily in the air. His eyes darted between the holographic projections of the Zinthar's communication grid. Traces of excitement danced across his features as he began to explain the theoretical foundations of the device. The others listened intently, their minds racing to keep up with the potential implications of his words. The Zinthar's communication relied on frequencies that were alien to human technology. Yet Milo proposed a way to manipulate these frequencies, creating a feedback loop that could render their systems vulnerable. As the team delved deeper into the technical aspects, personal stories began to emerge, revealing the sacrifices each member was willing to make for a cause greater than themselves. One engineer, a woman in her 30s named Tessa, shared her story of loss, the day she lost her family in a raid conducted by Zinthar forces. The room fell silent as she recounted the harrowing details, her voice trembling but resolute. Tessa's pain resonated with everyone present, igniting a shared sense of purpose among them. It became clear that each team member carried their own burdens, their own reasons for fighting, and this collective grief fueled their resolve to stand against the alien threat. Another scientist, a soft-spoken man named Raj, shared his motivation. His younger sister was missing, believed to have been taken during a Zinthar attack 2 months prior. He had dedicated every waking hour to this mission, driven by the hope that one day he would find her. His vulnerability struck a chord with the team, reminding them that their fight was not just against an external enemy, but also a battle for their loved ones, their futures, and their very humanity. As the discussions progressed, the atmosphere shifted from one of despair to one of camaraderie. They were no longer just a group of individuals thrown together by circumstance. They were becoming a family, bound by shared experiences and a collective goal. The device took shape in their minds, each component discussed and dissected with fervor. Ideas bounced back and forth, building upon one another until they began to form a cohesive plan. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly, fueled by takeout meals and copious amounts of coffee. Ilara moved among her team, offering encouragement and support, embodying the role of a leader who understood the weight of their task. She witnessed the late-night brainstorming sessions, the laughter that erupted after a particularly intense moment of frustration, and the quiet moments of reflection where individuals grappled with their fears. Each step forward was a testament to their resilience, and with every breakthrough, their hope grew stronger. At last, after what felt like an eternity of trial and error, the device was completed. It stood on a table in the center of the bunker, an unassuming but powerful piece of technology that represented their combined efforts and dedication. The moment was bittersweet, filled with elation and an underlying anxiety about the mission ahead. Ilara gathered her team for a final briefing, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. They exchanged glances, each one a silent promise to one another. No matter the outcome, they would face it together. As preparations for the second mission began, Ilara felt a familiar sense of determination coursing through her veins. She carefully reviewed the plans, ensuring every detail was accounted for. The mission to deploy the device would require stealth, precision, and unwavering courage. But there was something different this time. A palpable sense of unity enveloped the crew, as if they had forged an unbreakable bond in the crucible of shared fear and hope. In the moments leading up to their departure, the crew gathered in a small room adjacent to the launch bay. They shared their fears and hopes, a ritual that had become a cornerstone of their preparation. As they stood in a circle, each member spoke candidly about what this mission meant to them. Ilara listened intently, her heart swelling with pride for the individuals who had come together for this monumental cause. Their vulnerabilities laid bare only served to deepen their connection, solidifying their resolve to fight against the seemingly insurmountable odds. As the launch sequence initiated, the crew strapped themselves into their seats, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The hum of the engines reverberated in the confined space, a reminder of the journey they were about to undertake. Ilara glanced at Milo, who was seated next to her, his fingers dancing over the controls with a focused intensity. They shared a moment of understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the path that had brought them to this point. The ship blasted off into the night sky, leaving behind the safety of their hidden bunker. The stars twinkled like distant beacons of hope, a stark contrast to the darkness that threatened to engulf them. As they approached the Zinthar base, the tension mounted. The crew's expressions mirrored one another, a mixture of determination and trepidation. But just as they neared their destination, an unexpected storm began to brew, dark clouds swirling ominously overhead. Lightning crackled across the sky, illuminating the ship's cockpit in flashes of white. The turbulence rocked them violently, alarms blaring as navigation systems malfunctioned. Panic surged through the crew as Ilara fought to regain control, her training kicking in amidst the chaos. The ship shuddered violently, and within moments, the inevitable happened. With a deafening crash, they plummeted toward the ground, the world outside becoming a blur of gray and black. Ilara's heart raced as she struggled with the controls, but it was too late. They crashed, the impact jarring and disorienting. Dust and debris filled the air, and when the smoke finally cleared, they found themselves in a dense, alien landscape. Far from the Zinthar base they had intended to infiltrate. As they emerged from the wreckage, the reality of their situation set in. They were stranded, their mission compromised, and the Zinthar defenses were likely already alerted to their presence. Fear threatened to seep into their hearts, but Ilara quickly rallied her team. They had come too far to give up now. The crew gathered their wits, assessing their surroundings. The alien terrain was both mesmerizing and daunting, with towering structures that twisted toward the sky, vibrant colors shimmering in the atmosphere. Yet, danger lurked in every shadow, and they could feel the weight of the Zinthar's presence nearby. Together, they strategized, relying on their ingenuity and resourcefulness to navigate this new challenge. The mission had shifted. They were no longer just infiltrators, but survivors, determined to find a way to fight back. With their hearts set on hope, and their minds focused on the task at hand, they prepared to face the Zinthar head-on, united in their resolve to reclaim their future. As the dust settled around the crash site, the air hung thick with tension and uncertainty. The remnants of their vessel lay scattered across the desolate landscape, a testament to both the team's audacity and the unforgiving nature of their mission. Stranded and surrounded by the ominous presence of Zinthar forces, Captain Ilara surveyed their surroundings with a mix of determination and dread. The once vibrant camaraderie among her team was now overshadowed by the grim reality of their situation. They were outnumbered, and the odds were stacked against them. With the Zinthar patrols circling like predatory birds, Ilara knew they had to act quickly. The team gathered in a huddle, their faces illuminated by the faint glow of the device they had built, its humming energy providing a flicker of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. Plans were drawn, and strategies discussed, each member contributing their unique skills, weaving together a tapestry of ingenuity that would hopefully outsmart their technologically advanced adversaries. Ilara's mind raced as she considered their next move. They needed to buy themselves time, to create a buffer between their vulnerable position and the relentless approach of the Zinthar. Laying out a series of traps seemed like the most viable option. Utilizing the resources around them, they scavenged for materials, rigging makeshift devices designed to ensnare and disorient the alien soldiers. The team worked in a flurry, their adrenaline-fueled efforts showcasing the resilience that defined their humanity. As the preparations unfolded, a moment of vulnerability settled between Ilara and Dr. Milo. Amid the chaos, they found a quiet corner, away from the frantic activity of their comrades. The weight of their circumstances bore down on them, and for a fleeting moment, the facade of relentless determination faltered. Ilara's gaze wandered to the horizon, where shadows of the Zinthar forces loomed ominously, a constant reminder of the peril they faced. Milo stood beside her, his brow furrowed in thought, the tension palpable between them. In that silence, unspoken fears floated in the air. They contemplated their chances of survival, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily upon their shoulders. Ilara's heart raced, not just from the impending battle but from the fear of losing the one person who had become her anchor in the storm. Their shared experiences had blossomed into a connection that transcended mere friendship, and the thought of what could be lost was almost unbearable. Milo's voice broke the silence, though no words were exchanged. A glance was all it took to convey the depth of their understanding. They both recognized that the stakes were higher than their own lives. They were fighting for the future of humanity, for the chance to protect their home from the relentless advance of the Zinthar. In that moment, they silently vowed to fight not just for themselves but for each other, igniting a fire within them that would not be easily extinguished. As they rejoined the team, the atmosphere shifted. The resolve among the members had crystallized into a fierce determination. They set to work, laughter and banter mingling with the tension as they crafted their traps. A series of nets made from scavenged materials were strung between trees, while small explosives were rigged to trigger at the slightest disturbance. The camaraderie surrounding their efforts transformed the fear into a palpable energy, weaving a bond of resilience that fortified their spirits. Suddenly, the distant sounds of Zinthar patrols echoed through the trees, snapping the team into focus. The time for preparation had come to an end. Adrenaline surged as they took their positions, hearts pounding in unison, anticipation coursing through their veins. The first patrol approached, their alien forms gliding through the underbrush with an unsettling grace. Ilara's pulse quickened as she waited for the signal, her eyes locked on the approaching figures, each heartbeat echoing the stakes of their mission. As the Zinthar soldiers stepped into their carefully laid traps, chaos erupted. The nets ensnared several of the alien warriors, their surprised shouts piercing the night. Explosions erupted, sending debris scattering in all directions, the bright flashes illuminating the darkened forest. Ilara's team fought valiantly, using their knowledge of the terrain to their advantage, striking with precision and agility. Each skirmish brought a surge of adrenaline, a reminder of their humanity's indomitable spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. Amid the fray, Ilara's instincts guided her deeper into the Zinthar base, where her keen sense of observation led her to discover hidden chambers. The atmosphere shifted as she entered the unfamiliar space, the air thick with an ancient energy that seemed to pulse with the weight of history. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings and symbols, telling stories that transcended time, hinting at the Zinthar's own narrative of struggle and conquest. Ilara's heart raced as she explored further, uncovering artifacts that appeared to resonate with a strange power. Each item she touched seemed to hum with a forgotten energy, awakening something deep within her. In that moment, the realization struck her. These relics were not merely trophies of conquest, they were remnants of a culture rich in history, perhaps even a key to understanding the Zinthar's motivations. As the battle raged on outside, Ilara gathered her findings, her mind racing with possibilities. She could sense the ancient wisdom embedded within these artifacts, sparking a newfound determination to uncover the secrets they held. This revelation invigorated her resolve, igniting a fire within her that pushed her to act. She returned to her team, her heart pounding not just from the exertion of battle but from the hope that surged within her. Ilara shared her discoveries, the team rallying around the potential insights gained from the artifacts. Each member felt the weight of their history pressing upon them, urging them to fight back not just with weapons but with knowledge. The Zinthar were not merely invaders, they were a civilization with their own legacy, and understanding that legacy could be the key to victory. As they regrouped and strategized their next move, the atmosphere was charged with a newfound sense of purpose. The energy from the artifacts resonated with the resolve of the team, infusing them with hope and determination. They were no longer just fighting to survive. They were fighting to reclaim their narrative, to forge a future where humanity could stand tall against the shadows of the past. The device they had created loomed large in their minds, a harbinger of chaos that could disrupt the Zinthar ranks. As they prepared for its deployment, the team's anticipation mingled with the weight of impending conflict. Ilara could feel the stakes rising, the thrill of battle thrumming in the air as they readied themselves for what lay ahead. Just as they finished their preparations, the ground trembled beneath them. The Zinthar commander had arrived, a formidable figure whose presence sent a ripple of fear through the team. Ilara's heart raced as she recognized the gravity of their situation. They were on the precipice of confrontation with an enemy far more powerful than they had anticipated. The time for action was now, and with every heartbeat, the tension mounted. Victory hung tantalizingly close, yet the specter of defeat loomed larger than ever. In that moment, as the chaos of battle erupted around them, Ilara held on to the hope ignited by her discoveries, the legacy of humanity intertwined with the unknown. As they prepared to unleash their device, uncertainty lingered in the air, a reminder that their fight was far from over. The clash between the past and the future was about to unfold, and the choices they made in the crucible of conflict would define not just their survival, but the very essence of what it meant to be human. The battle raged around Ilara as chaos erupted in every direction. The Zinthar commander, imposing and ruthless, had taken Milo captive, dragging him away into the depths of the alien command center. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on Ilara. Her heart raced with a mix of fear for her friend and the burning need to act. Gathering her team, she quickly laid out a plan to infiltrate the command center and rescue Milo. Every member of the team understood the stakes. Failure meant not just the loss of a brilliant mind, but a significant blow to their already fragile hope. The air was thick with tension as Ilara and her team made their way toward the command center. Shadows flickered in the dim lighting, and the distant sounds of battle reverberated through the corridors. The Zinthar technology was far superior, their defenses formidable, but Ilara's determination was unyielding. She led the way, her mind racing with strategies, each step echoing her resolve. The team had trained for moments like this, but the reality of the situation was infinitely more daunting. As they approached the command center, Ilara signaled for the team to halt. They crouched behind a set of alien machinery, their hearts pounding in unison as they surveyed the area. Guards patrolled the perimeter, their movements synchronized like a well-oiled machine. Ilara's mind whirred with calculations. They needed to create a diversion to draw the guards away from the entrance. With a nod to her team, she sent 2 members to set explosives on a nearby power conduit. The plan was risky, but they had little choice. Moments later, a deafening explosion rocked the corridor, sending Zinthar soldiers scrambling in confusion. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ilara and her remaining team members dashed toward the entrance of the command center. The air was filled with the acrid scent of smoke and scorched metal, a stark reminder of the destruction surrounding them. Ilara's heart raced as they slipped inside, the dim light casting eerie shadows on the walls. Inside the command center, the atmosphere shifted. The air was colder, almost sterile, illuminated by a series of holographic displays that flickered with alien data. Ilara's eyes darted around, searching for any sign of Milo. They navigated through the maze of technology, each step more cautious than the last. The sounds of the ongoing battle faded into the background, replaced by the steady hum of the Zinthar machinery. Ilara's team advanced deeper into the facility, every corner revealing more of the alien technology that had so utterly dominated their world. They found themselves in a vast chamber, the walls lined with intricate glyphs that pulsed with a faint blue light. It was a stark contrast to the chaos they had just witnessed outside. Here, the Zinthar were in control, and the weight of their superiority pressed heavily on Alara's shoulders. Suddenly, a noise echoed through the chamber, snapping Alara back to reality. She motioned for her team to take cover as they observed a group of Zinthar soldiers escorting a bound figure. Milo. Alara's heart sank as she saw the bruises marring his skin, but the flame of hope ignited within her. He was alive. She could see the determination etched on his face, even in captivity. Alara knew she had to act fast. With newfound resolve, Alara signaled her team to prepare for a confrontation. They positioned themselves strategically, ready to launch a surprise attack. The Zinthar soldiers were focused on their captive, their attention diverted. Alara took a deep breath, her mind racing with the potential outcomes of their actions. This was it. They had come too far to back down now. As the team emerged from their hiding spots, chaos erupted once more. Alara led the charge, her weapon drawn, adrenaline pumping through her veins. The Zinthar soldiers were caught off guard, their surprise quickly turning to anger as they scrambled to defend Milo. The ensuing skirmish was fierce. Laser fire lit up the chamber, and the air crackled with energy. Alara's instincts kicked in, guiding her every move as she fought her way toward Milo, dodging blasts and returning fire. In the midst of the battle, Alara's gaze locked onto the Zinthar commander, a towering figure who exuded power and authority. The commander's presence was imposing, and Alara felt a shiver run down her spine. This was the being who had orchestrated so much suffering, and she knew that confronting him would be pivotal to their success. As she fought her way through the chaos, she felt Milo's eyes on her. He had faith in her, and that fueled her resolve. The clash between Alara and the Zinthar commander was inevitable. As they finally came face to face, the air grew thick with tension. The commander regarded her with a mixture of disdain and amusement, as if he found her defiance laughable. Alara could feel the weight of the moment bearing down on her. This was not just a battle for her friend, but a fight for the future of humanity. The confrontation escalated quickly. Alara and the commander exchanged blows, each movement a dance of strength and strategy. She could feel the commander's superior training and experience, but her desperation and determination pushed her forward. Each strike she delivered was fueled by the hope of her team and the memories of the lives they were fighting to protect. In the heat of the battle, it seemed as though victory was slipping away. Just as Alara felt herself falter, she remembered the bond she shared with Milo and the sacrifices of her team. With a surge of adrenaline, she pushed back against the commander's relentless assault, her focus sharpening. She had to find a way to outsmart him, to turn the tide in their favor. As the fight raged on, Milo, still bound but not defeated, began to assess his surroundings. He could see the device they had developed, glowing ominously in the corner of the chamber. The knowledge he had acquired during his captivity flooded back to him, and he realized that he could use it to their advantage. In a desperate move, he began to channel his energy toward the device, activating a hidden feature that had been designed as a last resort. Suddenly, the chamber was enveloped in a blinding light. The Zinthar commander paused, momentarily distracted by the unexpected development. Alara seized the opportunity, launching herself at him with renewed vigor. The light from the device intensified, filling the room with a powerful energy that reverberated through the walls. The Zinthar soldiers hesitated, confusion evident on their faces as the tide began to shift. In that moment, the realization struck Alara. They had an opportunity, a chance to regroup and strategize. The energy from the device created a temporary truce, a moment where both sides were forced to recalibrate. As she fought to maintain her footing against the commander, she could sense the shift in the atmosphere. The Zinthar soldiers were retreating, their focus shifting as they attempted to comprehend the new reality unfolding before them. Milo, still harnessing the device's power, called out to Alara. She could see the determination in his eyes, a reflection of her own. This was their moment. They could turn the tide of the conflict. With a shared understanding, Alara and Milo prepared to seize the opportunity that lay before them, ready to capitalize on the chaos and confusion that now enveloped the command center. In the heart of the battle, amidst the swirling chaos of light and energy, Alara felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. They had faced overwhelming odds, but together, they would fight for their future. Together, they would forge a path forward, not just for themselves but for all of humanity. The battle was far from over. But in that moment, they had reclaimed a semblance of control, ready to confront the challenges ahead. The temporary truce hung in the air like an electric charge, a fragile moment suspended between two factions that had been locked in combat for far too long. Captain Alara stood at the center of the makeshift parley, her heart racing as she faced the imposing figure of the Zinthar commander. The air crackled with tension, but beneath it was a flicker of something unexpected. Curiosity. The Zinthar, known for their cold efficiency and ruthless tactics, seemed momentarily disarmed. As the commander spoke, his voice resonated with an ancient authority. He revealed that the Zinthar were not merely conquerors, they were seekers. Their civilization had once thrived on Earth, millennia ago, and an artifact of immense power had been lost during a cataclysmic event that had torn their world apart. The Zinthar believed that this artifact was crucial for restoring their civilization, a key to unlocking the potential they once possessed. The revelation was both shocking and intriguing. Alara's mind raced as the implications of this disclosure unfolded before her. What did the artifact hold? Was it truly a source of power, or was it something more? As the commander continued, Alara felt her own resolve strengthen. The Zinthar were not just a faceless enemy. They were remnants of a civilization that had once been intertwined with humanity's own history. The connection stirred something deep within her, igniting her curiosity about the artifact and its significance. Meanwhile, Dr. Milo observed from the sidelines, his scientific mind absorbing every detail. He had been captivated by the very idea that humanity shared a common lineage with the Zinthar. As the discussion progressed, he began to piece together the fragments of ancient lore, history he had only read about in dusty books. The Zinthar's quest was not merely one of conquest. It was a desperate search for identity, for a connection to a past that had been severed. The dialogue deepened, and trust began to weave its way through the cracks of hostility. Alara and the Zinthar commander found common ground in their shared desire to recover what had been lost. The commander spoke of the Zinthar's once great civilization, filled with art, culture, and innovation, all now reduced to whispers of memory. Alara felt a pang of empathy for the alien leader, a being who had seen the rise and fall of a world. Then came the revelation that shook Alara to her core. Humanity, through a unique alignment of genetics, possessed the latent ability to wield the artifact. The commander explained that the key to accessing its power lay dormant within the DNA of humans, a genetic inheritance from their shared heritage. As he spoke, Alara's mind raced with possibilities. The artifact was not just a weapon or a tool. It was a bridge connecting two civilizations that had been drifting apart for centuries. Alara's heart surged with determination. This was no longer just a battle for survival. It was a chance for redemption, for both races. She envisioned a new alliance, a partnership that could harness the strengths of both the Zinthar and humanity to explore the universe together. The thought ignited a fire within her, a sense of purpose that transcended the immediate conflict. However, time was of the essence. The Zinthar were restless, their warriors awaited orders, and the window for negotiation was closing. Alara and Milo exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They had to act quickly. The prospect of uniting their two peoples hinged on the successful retrieval of the artifact, an endeavor that would require both bravery and ingenuity. With the weight of the impending battle looming, Alara rallied her team. They would need to infiltrate the Zinthar archives, believed to be hidden within the depths of their flagship. There, they hoped to find clues about the artifact's location and how to awaken its power. The plan was risky, but the stakes had never been higher. As the team prepared for the mission, Alara felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. The unity that had formed between her crew and the Zinthar was palpable, a shared understanding that transcended language and culture. Each member of her team was fueled by a common goal, to reclaim what had been lost and to forge a future where both races could coexist. With Milo at her side, Alara led the charge into the heart of the Zinthar ship. The corridors were lined with alien technology, pulsating with energy and life. Every corner they turned revealed glimpses of the Zinthar's advanced civilization, a stark contrast to the war-torn remnants of Earth. It was a bittersweet reminder of what had been and what could still be. As they delved deeper, they encountered challenges that tested their resolve. The Xinthar's defenses were formidable, but the team's creativity shone through. They combined their knowledge of human tactics and the Xinthar's technology to navigate through obstacles, creating diversions, and finding hidden pathways. The thrill of collaboration invigorated them, a true testament to the power of unity. Finally, they reached the archives, a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and ancient texts. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as they began to sift through the information. Milo's eyes sparkled with excitement as he deciphered symbols and texts that had been long forgotten. Each revelation brought them closer to the artifact, and with it, the potential to reshape their destinies. Amidst the chaos of discovery, Ilara found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. They had faced insurmountable odds, yet here they stood, on the brink of something extraordinary. The battle they fought was no longer just for survival. It was a fight for understanding, for forging a future that embraced the complexities of existence. As they pieced together the final clues, the urgency of their task became apparent. They needed to awaken the artifact's power before the Xinthar's forces could regroup and retaliate. With newfound determination, Ilara and Milo led their team back to the surface, ready to confront the Xinthar and demonstrate that cooperation could yield results far beyond warfare. The climactic showdown loomed ahead, and as they prepared for the inevitable confrontation, Ilara felt a sense of anticipation. The battle would test not only their physical strength, but also their understanding of what it meant to be unified. They were no longer just humans and Xinthar. They were allies in a quest for survival, knowledge, and transcendence. As the two factions prepared to clash once more, Ilara stood at the forefront, heart pounding with hope. The culmination of their efforts had created a new narrative, one where former enemies could stand together against a common threat. The interconnectedness of all beings had been laid bare, revealing that true strength lay not in domination, but in collaboration. With a resolute heart and unwavering spirit, Ilara led her people into battle. The air buzzed with energy, and as the first clash of forces echoed across the battlefield, she knew that this was only the beginning. The fight for their future had transformed into a shared journey of discovery, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the potential for peace that lay dormant within them all.